I am absolutely terrified. Not of this session, not of those things, but I have had one of the best weeks I have had personally, professionally, everything. For the first time in a long time, I had felt like I had stepped into the best version of myself. Right. So the stupid thing that hangs in the air is, why do I feel terrified? Because I laid in bed last night knowing that that stupid triangle that we talked about last week is lurking, right? I know that first speed bump, here comes the self-doubt, here comes the imposter syndrome. I already started fighting it a little bit. I was like, man, what did you do to deserve the week that you had?
I hear you on feeling terrified, and like we will get there, and we'll look at that for a sec. I am curious if there. You mentioned like last week, whether it was the triangle or something in last week helped you process some stuff, and I'm curious if you're feeling any specific like insights from last week or any specific nuggets or frameworks that have helped you, because I want to then carry that through. Or hey, maybe this week was a coincidence and it had nothing to do with last week, but I am curious if there's any tie into it, just because when we transition to talking about why you're feeling terrified, I want to see what's been working in your mind so far.
There's great power to naming your problems. And just saying out loud to another human being, I have imposter syndrome and I never feel like I'm worth anything that I am worth. I don't feel like I deserve any of this stuff. Just saying that out loud and admitting it, there was a release to it. And being able to say that to you when I went to it did, so when I was in all these other client meetings and all of these other situations that I went through in the week, it didn't have as much power over me because I had already admitted it, right?
Can we just like sit for a minute and just sit in that for a sec and like just
Yeah.
like take a moment, just let that soak in for a sec. The last week.
Yeah, it's it's good, man. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, I can't wait. I want you to watch last week's session and this and just look at the difference in your face. Cuz I can see it. Like I can just see it's all over what you're expressing right now. Okay. I heard you say you're feeling terrified, and we've got a solid another 45 minutes here. And I'd love to hear from you. What does a great win feel like for you today that you want to take away in the next 45 minutes?
Um I kind of want to I want to do like a repeat of last week where, okay, I'm feeling terrified. I want to admit it. I want to own it. I want to understand that it exists. As I don't know, in 45 minutes, you can never understand all the roots of why those things are there, right? I don't know if that's possible, but I want to, let's dig in and say, own it and make it smaller. Just like we did with the imposter syndrome and the self-doubt last week. Let's own it and let's make it smaller, and let's not become bound by it. That's the win that I'm after this week.
All right. How do you feel about then maybe us spending a few minutes here? I almost want to get your brain dump, Josh, on what's kind of the voices when you're feeling terrified, what's going on. Let's get that dump, and then we can maybe find some key themes and start naming different elements of that feeling of being terrified, and then see kind of where we go from there. How's that sound?
Sure. There's a very real fear that this is fool's gold, that it's an accident, that it's not what you've worked for. There's also, I guess there's also that fear too, is And you mentioned it. Was this all just a coincidence? Was this all just, the universe lined up in the right way at the right time to give you a good week and that's it? I want it to be something that is earned, not something that's given.
Can I reflect back kind of what I think I'm hearing just to make
Yeah,
sure we're on the
please.
same page?
Yeah, please.
If we're talking about kind of breaking down some of the stories when you're feeling this fear, I'm hearing the fear of messing something up or being responsible for, in your words, kind of ruining the euphoria. This fear around it being an accident or fool's gold or a coincidence, wanting it to be earned and not given, and a fear of hey, this not being the real version of you.
Yeah, yeah. That sums it up very well.
Anything else that feels missing from that list? Just want to flush out like the different things going on. Take a minute if you need time.
I think that sums everything up. Not like as I'm sitting here trying to search in my soul with it. Nothing else is really bubbling out of that. Those are kind of the things that feel the most on the surface that are ready to kind of be addressed.
Um, so for these four things, like when you hear yourself say these four things, what's coming to mind?
There's a stark separation between expectations and reality for me. Even as I reflect a little bit in real time, the four areas that you said, it's all four of them are almost or statements, right? Either or, either or, either or, either or. And I feel like I'm stuck on the island of or. That's a big revelation to me. It's everything in my life is a dichotomy. Everything in my life is this questioning on the authenticity or the integrity of whatever I'm experiencing. That tension is a massive dissonance. Like it's the tension between those two things never rarely lets you rest internally because not you're, I'm always struggling between two things. Um, it's exhausting. It can be exhausting. Yeah,
Can I throw a curveball, wild question at you?
absolutely.
What might be the benefit of you having these fears to some degree?
Oh, I've thought about this.
Okay.
The dark side of leadership. Everybody has it. You've got to deal with that stuff. It fuels that drive to reach to the good side. So yeah, there are definitely positive sides to it, but only if it's kept in balance and only if it's kept in check. And that's the hard thing to figure out how to do. It fuels that drive to reach to the good side. So yeah, there are definitely positive sides to it, but only if it's kept in balance and only if it's kept in check. And that's the hard thing to figure out how to do, because you know that the fool's gold side and the imposter side is not where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It fuels that drive to reach to the good side. It's there because you maybe it's something like fight or flight, right? That primal instinct to go to survival. You know that promised land isn't on the imposter fake fool side. You know that the promised land is over here. And there's something, even if you can't name it, that part of you will die if you only stay in the dissonant side. And life is truly lived on this side. So you get fueled by that.
We talked about naming these three or four buckets, and now I almost want to name that scale of keeping it in check, right? Because this isn't really black or white. Is there a fear? Is there not a fear? I almost think of it as like a scale of 0 to 10. And I'm curious if 10 was like the fear is taking over to the extreme, okay? and 0 is there is absolutely no fear at all. What number range to you feels like, hey, let's keep it in check? This is the healthy amount of these fears or inner feelings that is productive.
Okay, this is gonna sound really stupid, but I like it. I like it because it hit me like a ton of bricks. We have ethanol in our gasoline. They mix ethanol in our gasoline to make the gasoline last longer. So for every dollar you spend, 10% of it is not gasoline, it's ethanol. But it works and they just do it. So I kind of view that ethanol added to the fuel as like 10%. Like if there was if the fear was checked to 10%, where it was logged in the back of the head that it's there, that it's a real thing, that's the warning, right? If it was 10% of the maximization, where you have to be aware of it because of its reality, and it has that much power over you to keep you moving in the other direction, that would be incredible.
What's the percentage of ethanol right now, or when you were feeling terrified before the session?
Oh man. So through the week it felt like 0. And then probably in the last day I started feeling it creeping up. And it was like I could feel it go past 10, go past 20. And I probably this morning when I was getting ready for a lot of this, it probably felt like 30 to 35% of it being very real, where I could name it. I didn't feel controlled by it, but I could feel it growing.
If you had the clarity of what drives ethanol up and what brings it down, and it might not be today, but if you had that clarity, what impact do you think that has on this entire situation we're talking about?
Well, it would certainly help me learn to uh, learn to address things before they got to catastrophic levels. Like awareness is so much of it, right? You know, being able to, I think it would be able to help me identify when things go up and then begin to try to take countermeasures.
I would love to get your objective point of view. If we were in court and you were under oath, I want to get your objective point of view of the things that you have done, not only in the past week, but in the past months or the past years of building this business. What are the things in your control that you've done that you genuinely believe have led to the goodness of this past week and what that week represents, whether it's the client testimonials or getting the clients or whatever?
One of the biggest things that, you know, I have done over the last year of my life was to completely change my attitude toward my personal health. And I'm now a self-proclaimed gym rat. I am at the gym 6 or 7 days every week. I've completely changed my diet. I've completely done those things and have become very disciplined in that pursuit. That discipline has also helped me become disciplined in other areas of my life. And so it is the trickle effect. Um, Going to the gym and seeing the progress there, there's that corollary of I put this work in, this is my result. That has helped keep me grounded in those things where I believe it at the gym, but I'm not so sure I believe it on some other things. So I guess that's a long way of saying is you take a chance to bet on yourself, and when other people give you the validation that you know what you're doing, that hard work pays off. Right? So those are the catalysts that I feel really really give me that boost to keep that ethanol at bay. Where when I'm true to myself and it pays off, it feels so much more real.
Right? There's the gym, the diet, a very clear input leads to output. I heard you kind of say sometimes like you see it there, but other areas it might not be as much. But we're starting to see a little bit of the inputs leading to outputs, right? You being true to yourself, you leaning into your expertise, that conversation with that client, and how you held your ground. I'm putting words in your mouth. You held your ground in a way that was aligned to your values, right? And you're seeing the results from that.
Yeah, there's something there. You said the word values, man. That's a big that's a big thing for me. Whenever I have contradicted my own value system is a massive trigger for the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome. Whenever I lied to myself and justified myself out of my value system is a one-way ticket down the roller coaster to the other side. Yeah, that's a big catalyst that we've stumbled across.
Want to make sure I'm following and tracking. There's a tie-in between the times where you feel like you might not be living by that code and imposter syndrome coming in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So as we land in our last few minutes, where's our ethanol at right now?
It feels low. I don't know if I can put a pin number on it, but it feels low. Um, Definitely under that threshold. Definitely under that. Like I don't feel it. I don't feel the draw to that side much at all. Yeah.
Is there anything that comes to mind, and this might feel clearer in the coming days? Is there anything that comes to mind that you think helped in the past hour get it lower? And I'm asking just if we can name that, then we're starting to create a catalog of something that has clicked here for you.
I scoff because I don't think it should be this easy. Just talking about it. It's one of those. It's one of those things that they talk about. Men, they never talk about their feelings. Never talk about these things, right? It's always one of those classical, societal conversations that are had. Just talking about the reality of what is in a space of a trusted advisor and knowing that we don't make inferences from it. We just say it is what it is. Getting that out there and then trying to dig through it a little bit releases its power. It sounds so simple, and sometimes I know I'm guilty of this, that when it means so much on the inside, we want it to be a harder solve on the outside. But it's not. It's lowered because we've talked about it and we've named it. And it doesn't seem so big and ugly and scary because we just talked about it.